This year's Hall of Fame game was interesting. It started off with DeMarcus Ware, who's being inducted into the Hall of Fame, singing the national anthem to start things off, which was a surprise because he actually did pretty good. But as far as the game goes, there were so many penalties, which is expected. It was a bunch of rookies playing. They haven't had much time in training camp. And I feel like every Hall of Fame game has a bunch of penalties, but it felt like every other play there was just a penalty and another one. And then the same thing goes with screen passes, which every Hall of Fame game, there's a bunch of screen passes because they don't want their quarterback to get hit. They want to get their rookies involved. They want to get their playmakers involved in an easy way. So there's usually a lot of screen passes as well. But as far as some of the key players go, Zach Wilson didn't play great, but he also didn't play bad at all. He had one amazing throw to Malik Taylor. It was a 57-yard bomb. It was a perfect, accurate deep ball. But he also had a big miss. He only threw 5 passes, and he had one great pass. He scrambled out of the pocket, and he showed that he was able to stay on his reads. He looked at maybe 2 or 3 receivers before he took off. So that was an improvement as well, because I felt like last year, as soon as that one read wasn't there, he's either throwing it, an interception, or he's scrambling for minimal gain. So he went through his progressions, then he scrambled, ended up not picking up the first down, but who cares in this game? He did have one really bad miss. I think he had a ball knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and then a couple other meaningless plays. So he only played about a drive and a half, and he didn't look bad, didn't look great. Kind of what I expected from Zach Wilson. And now let's talk about Israel Abanikanda. He showed flashes. I expected maybe a little bit more. He had 9 carries for 27 yards and a touchdown. So it was about a 3 yards per carry, which isn't great, but you got to remember he's running behind third string offensive lineman that's not even going to make the team. So he didn't really have much help in the blocking category, but he showed why the Jets drafted him in the 5th round. I mean, he's a height, weight, speed freak. I mean, he's a big, bulky, solid rock of a man, but he has some speed. On that touchdown run, he just beat everyone to the edge and just got to the end zone. It was pretty special. And then also, Will McDonald had a few flashes. I remember the announcers literally mentioned him, and then the next play, no one blocked him. And then it was kind of like a bootleg around. Kellen Mond was looking to throw it, and Will McDonald just got in his face in like a blink of an eye. I mean, he definitely flashed some athleticism. And he's actually being able to play that like wide 9 role. Because back in Iowa State, they played him like he was a 280-pound defensive end, when in reality he's not that. He's a speed rusher. He needs to be standing up wide 9 and just pinning in his ears back and getting to the quarterback. So it was nice to see him actually playing his role and playing in the right scheme. And he definitely showed flashes. He didn't really show up on the box score much. But if you were watching just him on some of the plays, he had a very solid game. And now moving over to the Browns, Kellen Mond didn't flash at all. He had a really bad interception. He was just throwing a crosser route, and he just did not see the linebacker that was literally running the route with the receiver. It was a very bad interception. And other than that, he also didn't have any, memorable throws or anything. He completed 13 of his 19 passes for 92 yards and a touchdown and an interception. So not great when your average yards per throw is 4.8. That's not great. Granted, it was a bunch of screen passes and, drag routes, stuff like that, but he didn't really show why he should make the 53-man roster. But you also got about 3 more games to prove himself, so, I mean, anything can happen. Now moving on to Dorian Thompson Robinson, DTR. He came in at halftime, and now he definitely flashed. He went 8 for 11 passing for 82 yards and 1 passing touchdown. So stats are going to be stats in the Hall of Fame game. You don't got to really worry about the box score, but just watching him play, he flashed that he can run the ball, scramble the pocket. He flashed that he can stand in the pocket and deliver a throw for a touchdown. And then he also flashed that he could block. There was a play, I think it was Demetric Felton running the ball, and he got stuffed at the line of scrimmage, bounced it to the outside, and all of a sudden DTR became the lead blocker, and he laid the wood on the defender, and he was basically the key block that made it so that Demetric Felton could get the touchdown. So he definitely showed effort. He played great. I mean, he missed 3 throws, but I mean, they weren't anything terrible. So DTR is definitely ahead of Kellen Mond in the race for the backup job, or I guess third string. So we'll have to keep an eye on that for the next few preseason games. Quick note on DeJuan Jones, he still looked massive even against NFL talent. Man, if he was just looking at the right tackle position, he looked like a monster. And he played pretty well. I believe he did have one holding penalty. I don't know if... I'm pretty sure it was technically declined because there was also another holding call. So I don't know if it's going to show up on the stat sheet, but he did have a holding penalty, which you don't like to see, but he played well. I don't think he allowed any QB pressures, QB hits, anything like that. So he definitely played pretty solid. What else do I got on my notes? Cedric Tillman had a few nice catches. Just basic preseason catches. It was 2 receptions for 35 yards. And one of those catches definitely looked like offensive pass interference, but they called it on the defensive back. So it was a bit sketchy on that one. But he showed flashes. He showed why he was one of the better receivers on the field. I did put on my notes that Greg Zurline looked great. He had, I believe, 2 50-yard field goals. Let me double check that. Yeah, 2 50-yard field goals. He was 3 for 3 in field goal attempts and then 1 for 1 on extra points. So he looked really good. And then on the other side, Cade York didn't look great. He missed a field goal, and then he also almost missed an extra point. So he's definitely got the leg, but accuracy is becoming a problem with Cade York. Moving on, Anthony Schwartz had a fumble, and the Browns desperately need speed. And I'm pretty sure they're wanting him to be that speed threat, but he can't catch the ball. He seemingly can't hold on to the ball. He's literally just speed. So it's not looking great for Anthony Schwartz. I mean, he might stay on the roster just based on his speed alone, but I don't know, he's just not got the receiver attributes that you need to have. Tim Boyle for the Jets still looked bad. I still can't fathom how he has an NFL career, because if you look back at his college days, he looked terrible. He had more interceptions than touchdowns almost every year he played. I mean, he just didn't look great in college, so I don't know why he keeps getting chances in the NFL, but he didn't look great today. He didn't look terrible, but definitely looked like he belonged in the Hall of Fame game. Another thing to note, the power did go out, so it was shades of the Super Bowl with the Ravens and 49ers. So there was about a 20-minute delay there, but the game finally resumed. And so yeah, that's about it. It's the Hall of Fame game. Almost no starters played that I can remember. It's just a really good time to see what the rookies can do for you. Who's going to make that back end of the roster. But it's always fun to have the first game of the season come on, and even if it's a bunch of quote-unquote bums playing, it's still football. Everyone loves football. And so now we're just looking forward to the beginning of the real preseason coming next week. So thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please give me a like and maybe hit the subscribe button. And with that being said, this is the Draft Nerd, and thanks for watching.